it's Rob. Welcome to Axel's Garage. Well, the weather broke. It hasn't been freezing cold, but it's been raining. So we did some honeydew list stuff. We got some seed in the backyard because the dogs tore it up all winter long. So we seeded, we fertilized, we put some topsoil down over the seed. It's been growing. The grass has been growing like crazy. It's been raining on and off, which has been great for the grass seed, and it's been cool. For May, it's like the end of March temperatures, but it's been rainy. We're getting our April showers a month and a half late, but the grass is starting to grow, and all that seed I planted is growing. So I've been cutting the backyard pretty regularly. It's always been damp when I'm cutting, just because it's been raining on and off. And it got real high. It rained all night. I let it dry out during the day today. We didn't get any rain, and then I came home about 6 p.m. and I went out and cut it. It was kind of high, so I raised the deck on the mower, and every time I'd hit a patch of real thick grass, the mower would bog down, and you would notice the tops of the cut grass sort of like weren't a clean cut. It was kind of a jagged cut. And what happens when you have a jagged cut on your grass is it leaves it susceptible to disease, and after like day or two or three, you start to get like a brown on the tops, and the lawn looks like crap. It's sort of like split ends in your hair for the women. I don't have that problem, but anyway, you know how they cut off the split ends? Well, it's the same kind of thing. What it means is that your mower blade needs sharpening from hitting rocks and just getting worn out from cutting the grass. It actually does get worn out. And a lot of people will send their mower out, they'll bring it in for service, they'll get the blade sharpened. It'll cost them, you know, anywhere from 20 to 30 bucks to get a blade sharpened. And it's a real easy thing to do with basic tools. You can use a bench grinder like I have back there. I really don't like to use the bench grinder just because I don't have a real big one, and it's a lot easier to get this blade done on a big one. I have a small 6-inch one. It kind of gets in the way. Not crazy about it. I have used it from time to time. You can use just a regular metal file, and that works really, really well. It takes time and effort because you're going to sit there filing and filing. Or you can use a 4.5-inch grinder, which most car guys have these with a variety of different grinding stones and cut-off wheels and flap discs, and that's what I like to use, a flap disc. I just put a new flap disc on it because the one that was on it was really, really worn. This is a 60 grit disc. You can use a much finer. This just happened to be one that I had loose, so I threw it on there, and I'll show you my blade. Alright, you could see it's real jagged and chipped, and there's really no cutting edge on here. It's not sharp at all. And the other side is the same way. You can see how jagged that is, and that's just from hitting rocks and from use. And you know, when you sharpen your blade, you get a nice cleaner cut. Your grass is even across. You don't get a lot of missed spots because you're not knocking the grass over. You're cutting right through it, and that's what happens when it's dull like this. It hits the grass and it sort of knocks it over, and a lot of grass doesn't get cut, and the grass that gets cut gets actually torn instead of cut. And you notice that a lot of, if you bag your grass, and you know, here in New York where we have small lawns, we bag our grass, it doesn't pick up well because it's just getting knocked over, and it doesn't have good suction because it's not sharpened right. So easy way on the vise. You throw it in the vise. I'll move the camera down a little. You got it here in the vise, and here's your cutting tip from about here to the end of the blade. On a lawnmower blade, it's about a 45-degree angle, where a pocket knife or a kitchen knife will be anywhere from 15 to 25 degrees. A razor blade might be like 10 degrees. This is like 45 degrees, and the reason why it's a steeper angle is because it needs to be a stronger blade. The more that you take off on that angle, and the thinner that angle is, the weaker the tip of the blade is. So on a lawnmower, 45 degrees, because you want it to be a pretty strong edge. So what you want to do is you want to take your grinder, and you want to have your grinder spinning in that direction. So you want to have it come off the edge of the blade, not back into the blade. So real simple in the vise. You're going to take your grinder, right? This grinder spins clockwise, so this is my right position. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the factory 45-degree bevel, and I'm just going to keep lightly with hardly any pressure. I'm going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You don't want to give it a lot of pressure. You don't want to stay in one spot because you don't want to heat the metal up, because that's just going to weaken the metal. And you want to keep going back and forth until you get a nice edge. Keep taking material off till your edge is straight there, back and forth, and you should feel a little burr on the back. The same thing if you were doing it with a metal file. You'd come in with your file, you'd follow that 45-degree angle, and you just keep filing like this until you get your edge in. Right? You need a good file for that. My files are old and crappy, so I don't use the metal file option. You could use the bench grinder option. Just be real careful, because that bench grinder will eat right through it if you're not careful. This is the way I like to do it the best. It's the easiest and the fastest. Caught my grinder in my shop right, but you can see after about 20 or so passes, right, it's starting to establish an edge. I'm getting one here, I'm getting one here, but still in the middle. I need to go a little bit more, and I don't feel a burr on the back of the blade yet. Once you hit where it's a nice sharp corner, where it's all good metal, you'll feel a little burr on the back of the blade. Alright, so you saw as I got near the end, I just kept going in one direction until I could feel the burr all the way down. When you got that burr that's just a little sort of piece of metal still hanging on the back, you don't want to go much past that burr. And then what you could do is you could hit the back of the blade just to knock the burr off with the bench grinder, or you can just come along like that with a file, nice and easy, and knock that burr right off. And you could feel how sharp this is. This blade was pretty beat up, so it probably took me, I would guess, about 50 passes to get it nice. And you can feel it. It's got a nice sharp edge. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's a lawnmower. It's close enough. If you're really anal about it, you could spend a lot more time and get any nicks and stuff out of the blade. Just remember, the more material you take off, the less this blade is going to last you. So when you're all said and done, you got a nice sharp edge lawnmower wise. If it was a pocket knife or a kitchen knife, you'd want to go and get it really nice. But this is a lawnmower blade, so we flip it around. Same thing to this side. Alright, this side was a lot worse as far as jagged nicks in the blade surface, but it actually cleaned up even nicer because I had to take more material off. So to get those jagged things out, I wound up getting pretty much all of the nicks out. And then take my file again, and I'm just going to come, you can see, let me see if I can zoom in on this one. Alright, so my edge is nice, and I got a nice burr on the back side that I could feel. I'm just going to take this, and you can see that burr fold right over as soon as you give it a couple little grinds. You can see right here, I got a couple little burr edges. There, it's almost all gone. I have more of a burr on this one because I took off a lot more material than the other side. There we go. All my burr up, one piece there. Okay. This end came out even nicer. get it to focus. Focus. There we go. Alright, now the only thing left that a professional place is going to do, well, the two things left that a professional place is going to do is they're going to clean your whole blade up. And they'll either scrape all this stuck on grass, goop, or whatever, or you could just knock it off with a wire brush, or you could throw it on the wire wheel on your grinder, whichever one, it doesn't matter. The other thing they're going to do, and this is what they're going to try to sell you on, we just don't sharpen it, we balance your blade. Well, to be honest with you, balancing the blade on a 4-stroke homeowner's, 20 or 21 or 22 inch lawnmower is kind of bullshit. Sharpening the blade and taking a little bit of material off of either end is not going to throw the blade off so much that it's going to screw your mower shaft up on a slow spinning homeowner's type machine. Now, a big commercial machine or a 2-stroke commercial machine with a blade spinning faster, yeah, maybe. But on these, it doesn't. But anyway, if you wanted to balance your blade, all you need is a screwdriver or an old drill bit laying around. It's probably laying right on your tool bench. And you take that bit, put it in your vise. Move that camera again. Put the bit in your vise, take your blade. Don't hang it in one of the grooves on the bit, just hang it. And if the blade teeters hard one way or the other, it's out of balance. This is pretty much laying flat across. If it was doing this and going like that and staying like that, then you know this end is heavy, right? If it was bending this way, you'd know this end was heavy. Right, what did we just do? We balanced the blade, right? You could also do the same thing just by taking a nail, nailing it into your wall or into a 2x4, or so you got a stud, an open stud in your garage. You put a nail in there, hang this right on the nail, and boom. What do you got? You got a balancer. Alright, all that balancing nonsense is bullshit. They just charge you a lot of money for it. It's a scam. Don't fall for it. Now, if it was out of balance, all you do is put it back in the vise, take the grinder out, and make another, 10 passes on the cutting surface. Just keep sharpening another 10 times so you can take that edge down a little bit more. Blades aren't made for you to take them off the back side. Alright, take it off the cutting edge. Just keep sharpening until you take some more material away. Maybe 10, 15 passes, throw it back up there on that nail or in that drill bit and see how it stands. If you got to do it again, you do it again, and you keep going trial and error. It's the same thing they're going to do, and they're going to charge you a boatload for it. Alright, so now this blade's done, it's sharp. All I'm going to do now is take my bench grinder with the wire wheel end, knock off all this grass, knock off any rust by the mounting surface, mount it back up, and I'm going to cut the lawn. I'm going to drop my deck just a half a notch just to suck up all the grass that I didn't pick up really and even everything out, because it's very uneven because of the dull blade that I had. That's it today from Axel's Garage with the honey-do list. Sharpening your lawnmower blade, save some money, do it yourself, don't have a pro do it, and then make your son cut the grass so that you can get to working on the cars, which is what you're supposed to be doing. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, thumbs up, and if you like what we're doing here at Axel's Garage, subscribe to our channel, and as always, thanks for watching.